You prayed about it. More than once. More than 10 times. You've handed it over, declared the truth, quoted the verse, "Do not be anxious about anything," and meant every word of it. And then you woke up at 3 a.m. with your heart already racing before you remembered why. That's the part nobody warns you about. Not the anxiety itself, but the confusion that follows. The dissonance of being someone who genuinely believes, who genuinely trusts, who has genuinely seen God come through before, and still feeling like this. Like your body didn't get the memo your faith signed off on. And that's when the guilt starts. Not because you're anxious, because you think you shouldn't be. And somewhere in that gap between what you believe and what you feel, a question starts to form. If I really trusted God, would I still feel this way? It's a quiet question, but it's a damaging one, because it takes something you're already struggling with, the anxiety, and adds a second layer on top of it. Not just the fear, the shame of the fear. If that's where you are, I want you to stay with me, because the answer to that question matters more than you know. Here's how the cycle works. The anxiety arrives, a tightness in the chest, a mind that won't stop running the same loop, a dread that doesn't attach to anything specific but sits there anyway, heavy and uninvited. And your first instinct is to pray, which is right, which is good. But when the feeling doesn't lift after the prayer, something else kicks in. Doubt, not about God, about yourself. Why is this still here? Why didn't that work? What am I missing that everyone else seems to have? You start watching other believers, the ones who seem genuinely unshakable, who talk about peace like it's a permanent address they moved into years ago, and you measure yourself against them. And you come up short. So you pray harder, surrender more intentionally, read more, journal more, believe more fiercely, and the anxiety is still there the next morning. Now it's brought a companion, guilt. Guilt that says your anxiety is a spiritual report card, that the fear is evidence of a faith too shallow to hold the weight of real trust. If you really believed what you say you believe, you wouldn't feel this. And the cruelest part of that voice is how reasonable it sounds. Because you know the verses. You know what you're supposed to feel. You just can't get your nervous system to cooperate. Let me ask you something. When Jesus sweat drops of blood in the garden, was that a failure of faith? When Paul wrote about his thorn in the flesh, his weakness, the pressure he felt, was that spiritual immaturity? When David wrote, "My soul is in anguish, and I am worn out from my groaning," was he someone who didn't trust God enough? These aren't rhetorical questions, because if the answer is no, and it is, then somewhere along the way, you absorb a version of faith that the Bible itself never taught. The version that says emotional peace is the proof of spiritual trust. But that's not what Scripture shows. Not once, from beginning to end, does it present faith as the absence of fear. It presents faith as what you do in the presence of it. Fear not is a command, not a description of how the faithful feel. You don't command someone to do something they're already doing naturally. Anxiety and faith are not opposites. Fear can sit in the passenger seat. Faith decides who drives. They are two different systems entirely. One is a physiological response. The other is a theological conviction. And the presence of one says nothing about the strength of the other. Your nervous system was designed to detect threat. It does that job whether you're praying or not. That's not a flaw in your faith. That's just being human. A thermometer measures temperature. That's all it does. It doesn't measure your loyalty to the house. It doesn't measure how much you care about staying warm. It doesn't make a judgment about whether you deserve heat or whether you've done enough to earn a comfortable room. It just reads what's present. Your nervous system works the same way. It scans your environment, your memories, your circumstances, your perceived threats, and it reports back. Fast, automatic, beneath conscious control. It was built for survival long before the concept of faith existed, and it responds to danger whether the danger is real or imagined, whether you've prayed about it or not. Anxiety is a reading, not a verdict. It tells you what your body is detecting. It says nothing about what your soul actually trusts. Paul understood this tension intimately. In Philippians, for he didn't write, "Feel no anxiety." He wrote, "Do not be anxious about anything, But in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. The instruction isn't to stop feeling it. It's to redirect it, to bring it somewhere, to let it become the very thing that drives you toward God rather than away from Him. And the promise that follows isn't the removal of anxiety. It's something better. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. Not the absence of fear, a peace that stands guard inside it. And then there's Gethsemane. Not because it's the only story, but because it's the most honest one. Jesus, fully God and fully human, told his disciples that his soul was overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. He didn't perform calm. He wept. He asked for another way. His body responded to what was coming with everything a human body has. And none of that disqualified him. None of it interrupted his communion with the Father. If the Son of God could be overwhelmed and still be held, so can you. So here's the belief doing the most damage. That faith is measured by how calm you feel. That trust in God should produce a kind of emotional steadiness that anxiety interrupts. And when the anxiety shows up anyway, it means something went wrong in your faith before it got there. That belief sounds spiritual. It quotes verses. It feels like high standards. But what it actually does is turn your nervous system into a judge of your relationship with God. And your nervous system was never qualified for that job. Here's what's actually true. Faith is not the absence of fear. It's the decision about what you do with it. Two people can feel the exact same anxiety. One lets it drive them inward, into isolation, into shame, into silence. The other brings it to God, names it honestly, and keeps moving in the direction they believe in despite how their chest feels. The anxiety was identical. The faith was not. What you do with the fear is the measure of trust, not whether the fear showed up in the first place. And this reframe isn't just permission to feel anxious without guilt. It's an invitation to stop spending energy fighting your own nervous system and start spending it on the one thing that actually helps, bringing exactly what you feel unfiltered into the presence of God. Not the polished version, not the version that has it together. The 3 a.m. version. The tight-chested, can't stop the loop, don't know how to explain it version. That one is welcome too. So hear this clearly. Your anxiety is not a confession of weak faith. It is not evidence that your prayers aren't working, that your trust isn't real, or that God is waiting for you to get your emotions under control before He takes you seriously. You're not a lesser believer because your body responds to fear. Every person in Scripture who is called faithful, every single one, had moments where their humanity showed up louder than their theology, where the fear was real and the trembling was visible and the peace felt very far away. And God met them there, not after they calmed down. There, in the middle of the shaking. That same meeting is available to you, not when the anxiety lifts, not when you finally figure out how to stop feeling it. Right now, exactly as you are, with the tight chest and the racing thoughts and the exhaustion of carrying something your body won't put down. You don't have to heal from anxiety to be close to God. You don't have to perform peace to be someone who trusts Him. Your faith is real even when your hands are shaking. Your trust is genuine even when your mind won't stop. Your prayers land even when they come out broken and breathless and barely formed. You're not failing. You are human, and you are held in the anxiety through the anxiety without condition. Before you go, I want you to do something small. In the comments, write these 4 words: my faith is still real. Not because the anxiety is gone. Maybe it isn't. But because saying it out loud, even once, even quietly, is an act of defiance against the voice that's been telling you otherwise. Your faith and your fear have been living in the same house for a while now. And the fear has been loud. This is you giving the other thing a voice too. Here's what I want to leave you with. The goal was never to become someone who doesn't feel anxious. The goal was never emotional stillness as proof of spiritual depth. That bar was invented somewhere other than Scripture, and it has done enormous damage to people who were already carrying enough. The invitation is simpler than that. Bring what you have. Bring the fear, the loop, the 3 a.m. chest tightness, The exhaustion of trying to believe your way out of something your body keeps believing back in. Bring all of it, and let the peace that passes understanding do what understanding never could. Stand guard over a heart that is still trusting, even while it trembles. If this reached you somewhere honest today, share it with someone who's been carrying guilt on top of their anxiety for too long. They need to know their faith is still real too. And to you, still here at the end, you are not too anxious to be loved. You are not too broken to be held. Your fear doesn't get the final word. Your faith does.